The other question is, does each municipality have sewer? Or does it have septic? Does each municipality have water companies? Or do they use well water? Is there public transportation? Can municipalities work together for affordable housing? And currently, that's not the case. The legislators are dodging affordable housing at this time. They're placing it in the laps of the state court. This is incorrect, and it must be taken back to the legislators as part of the law. It makes one think that someone is actually afraid of affordable housing, or maybe a developer. I don't know. Our organization agrees that there should be affordable housing, but it must be done correctly. And I suggest you get in touch with ciahNewJersey@gmail.com and ask us where we stand in regards to this. And I strongly suggest that you contact your legislators and ask them to take back affordable housing from the court. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Byrd.
Good evening. Sarah Sherman, 42 Greenwood Drive.
Good evening.
Like many residents who have been here for a long time, in my case 30 years, we lament the loss of the item because we have no local news coverage. We have two online sources. One focuses on school issues and one seems to favor controversy. At the last Township Committee meeting, the banner headline would have been that taxes weren't being raised, and the term financially healthy community would have been quoted. None of this was reported. Without reliable local news sources, misinformation circulates, echo chambers reverberate, and facts are sacrificed. And in that environment, flyers and petitions can circulate with inaccuracies and little explanation. Affordable housing compliance is messy and controversial, and usually nobody likes the outcome. But we need facts to understand the issues facing our community and how we might address them. Clearly, based on what I've heard tonight, there are residents who have not been following this issue, and we are hearing predictions of doom, gloom, and Erin Brockovich. We are not informed by misinformation and hyperbole, and we don't want unsolicited text messages urging us to sign petitions. This is invasive and unwelcome. Some opponents of 9 Main Street development object to the building as a 100% affordable housing only unit. This is not unique or unusual. The RISE project in Newark, which is partially financed by Queen Latifah, has 2 separate buildings, one market, one affordable. The proposal for the Westfield project at the old Lord and Taylor will also have the same separate buildings. The vote for the settlement agreement in this town was unanimous. Own it, make it work. If you got lemons, make lemonade. This is what you owe to your constituents, and we need to move forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Sherman.
Jean Pasternak, 342 Hobart Avenue. Thank you to the police, fire, emergency personnel, first aid squad. I wish you were given all the tools you need to best protect our community by the governor, state, county, and local elected officials. Mayor Miggins has not done her part and instead supports openly the pro-criminal policies of the Murphy administration and lets you and our community be unnecessarily vulnerable to crime. My second point, do you think your appointing Ms. Nesser and head of the Rec Commission, former head, her behavior is acceptable? I witnessed her attacking Miss Owalabi, who was door knocking in Glenwood near her home last fall, asking Oyen why an African-American woman would be aligned with the Republican Party and running as a candidate. This is disgraceful, unacceptable, aggressive, harassing behavior, and she should not be rewarded in any way by this township committee for that type of behavior. She is also a member of the Democratic County Committee, as I understand it, and they also should speak firmly against her behavior. There was a petition circulated for under a week, as I understand it. It has done a world of good, as far as I can see, with my neighbors and my friends in the community. They were unaware of this project. They had no idea it was being contemplated or being done. It's nothing to do with the newspaper. It's to do with the township committee and their lack of communication with their constituents. The community has spoken, as they did with the Taylor Park Rose Garden petition. Ms. Miggins, you quoted the 1,000 signatures as a reason not to move forward with ripping out the Rose Garden. Are you going to do as the community has asked in this instance? Stop, pause, and reverse this absurd project, as you did with the Rose Garden project. I'd like to also point out conflicts of interest regarding Ms. Miggins. I was told by some realtors in town that Ms. Miggins told a prospective client, where there's several competing realtors were bidding, that she let the prospective client know the blue house in the historic district they wanted to buy and paint white, it would not be a problem, as she was mayor and had a good relationship with the Historic Preservation Commission, so she could strongly reassure them with her help, they'd be able to paint the house white. Any public official, elected official, using their position to help gain personal business is absolutely unethical. This is unacceptable and is an ethics violation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Bastian.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Hello, Marilee Reesbeck, 91 Whittingham Terrace.
Good evening.
I'd like to offer some input on the affordable housing topic. First of all, it appears that that text that was pushed out to most residents last night may have utilized the Millburn alert system. I and other residents found this text very annoying and intrusive. And if someone in town did use the Millburn alert system, I hope that this unauthorized use will be addressed and the person responsible punished. As for the petition that the text referred to, nobody is taking credit for this petition. It's signed by concerned residents and has been sent out not only to residents, but as well to people who don't live here. It's also posted on Nextdoor to surrounding communities, on Facebook in a group with many non-residents. And since you can't see any of the signees, I question that the signatures are legitimate. Perhaps Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck have signed the petition, but I'm betting it's not anywhere close to the numbers that people are claiming are on that petition. There's certainly a lot of emotion around this topic right now, in part because of all the misinformation being spread around. There's a flyer being distributed. Again, no names on it, so no one's taking credit for it. And on this flyer, it claims that only 3 TC members voted for it, when in fact, it was a unanimous vote, although committee women Eglo and Prupus are now trying to backtrack their decision. There are claims about how toxic the site is, but we haven't even seen the test results yet. All of this misinformation has created some level of hysteria, and residents who have not paid any attention over the last few years and are just now tuning in and don't have any idea about what has been previously transpired are weighing in without having any knowledge or information about what's happened. They're calling it low-income housing because they don't know anything about the fair share affordable housing requirements. There are people demanding that we need to find another site with no realistic alternative suggestions. I agree that there are aspects of this agreement that are not ideal, but it will limit builders' remedy lawsuits and greatly reduce our township obligation for more affordable housing units. Do I have some concerns about the location? Absolutely. Do I have concerns about 100% affordable site? Yeah, I do. But this community avoided our fair share housing obligations for decades, and the courts are understandably annoyed. Unless testing shows that this site is contaminated, we need to move forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Riesbeck.
Thank you.
Hi, guys. Good evening. Regina Truitt, Hartshorn Drive. First of all, thank you for your service and congratulations to the EMS and police officers honored tonight. I think what I've observed over the past few days on social media and certainly tonight by some of the comments is that misinformation can spread more effectively than the BA.2 Omicron variant. This concerns me a great deal. Words about secrecy. This project has been discussed repeatedly at township committee meetings over the past several months. There was a negotiated settlement that the township committee voted on that passed unanimously. It was not 2-3. And as with all new developments, there will be environmental assessments. In fact, there is a document on the township committee website, an SI, a site investigation, preliminary site investigation that is already up for people to read. 75 units of affordable housing will go a long way towards meeting Millburn's long overdue legally mandated fair share housing obligation. I don't know if people have thought about this, but if the township doesn't build this, developers could be permitted under state law to build multiple other developments. And at each one, they only need to make 15% rented or 20% purchased of the units as affordable housing. How many more developments will it take at only 15% to get to that same 75 units that can be done with this one development? Well, let's do the math quickly. 100 units, of which only 15% need to be affordable housing, would be 500 more units for the township. What do you think that's going to do if people are concerned about traffic congestion in schools? This is clearly a way more efficient way for Millburn to meet its state mandated affordable housing obligation, and I fully support it. Then lastly, to repeat what Ms. Riesbeck just said, why on earth has this rumor started that this is a toxic site? Where is this coming from? It hasn't been determined. Does somebody have special powers of examination to have made that determination and have whipped people up? This simply has not been proven. Anyway, I'm going to wrap up by saying thank you again for all of your service. Good night.
Thank you, Ms. Truitt.
Thank you.
Anyone else, Jess?
Hello, Nancy Stone, 10 Fielding Road and 266 Essex Street. I want to start out by congratulating the police officers that were honored this evening and the EMT team that was honored. Their service is tremendously valued. And I do agree that I hope that Maggie, as the mayor, you give the Millburn Police full credentials to be able to move forward to do their jobs the best way they can. As the mayor, you are in charge and you should be spearheading our police force. I can tell you that I received this text and also was surprised to get it. I love the text. I wish we had more of these type of texts. And unlike some of the other people that have spoke, I don't understand why you're being upset. You're upset when we get 42 million texts about our cars, locking our car doors every week. I think a couple of texts to inform us it's affordable housing, one or two, and I'm looking forward to hopefully someone, whoever sent this, doing more of it, did an amazing job in rallying the community that clearly was unaware of what was going on in our town because of whether their lifestyles, as another person said, the February 15th in the middle of winter when we have a lot of people away in Florida, haven't been around, and doing these things in the dark of night is just not the way to get civic participation up and running. I also want to address the fact that I am being challenged that I'm a Republican endorsing a Democrat and some sort of nonsense that I'm hijacking the Democratic Party. That is not the case. This is democracy at its best. I have the freedom to choose who I want to endorse and who I want to support. I was the first person to hold a fundraiser for Ellen Steinberg, who was a Democrat, and she proudly won. I also endorsed Cory Biller, and he gave a really hell of a fight in the primary against Tara. And I do want to compliment Tara tonight on the way she handled the last meeting. And I even went so far as to go into the store and get that kale salad, and it's as delicious as I remember it to be. And I got to tell you, Diane was unbelievable, also fighting for this cause. And the two of them alone are standing here when you have such a conflict, Maggie, and you as a leader, that you should be taking this by the bull by the horns on this, because you were accused of racism yourself, and there was a petition against you about this, and you had to address it. So I think that if you really wanted to take a lead on this, you would also please stop, take a pause, and revisit it. We are a very wealthy community, and the fact of the matter is, I don't think anybody would be adverse to a lawsuit that was going to be for the first time the betterment of the community, and also standing behind our value system, that we do not want to stigmatize a community, children, families, hardworking people. And Maggie, you've always said you are the people, you're for the working man, you are there for the crossing guards. You must stand up and do the right thing and stand for not stigmatizing this property.
Thank you, Ms. Stone. Have a lovely evening.
Hi, this is Dr. Li Wu from 58 Southern Slope Drive in the South Mountain section. First of all, congratulations to all the officers who got recognized and promoted tonight. With regards to the affordable housing topic, I have two comments. As a new resident who just moved to this community and started to feel all the love and also the well-establishment, I think my first comment is we do support the affordable housing projects, but not on the dump site. So several decades of research in the field of this environmental justice has established clear patterns of racial and social economic disparities in the distribution of a large variety of environmental hazards. So I think people may think about this as like a chicken egg question, like, why there are practices in other states, in other municipality. However, when we think about the fundamental reason why the state encourage building the affordable housing units, right? So we do have neighbors, we do have friends and people who work in this area who cannot afford buying a home. But with that regards, I think we still want all our residents to be notified in a timely manner so we can discuss, we can resolve the confusion and arrive at a clear understanding of the processes and the contributory factors. Basically, these communities, we have many well-educated and wealthy people. We support the project, but meanwhile, we want to get the low-income families who already are facing with the challenges of limited resources to choose a healthy site to live. So please consider the equity and the environmental justice when we think about the site selection. The second point is, I think the DPW option, why a lot of people, especially a proud mom of two boys like myself, be objective and opposed to it, is we think this site selection can pose negative impact on the safety and the quality of life of the Millburn community. In my major of architecture engineering, we already established a baseline, which is the current situation. So in this case, the dump site, The traffic only occurs when there's a need for disposal. So the project to build affordable housing, you can imagine and you can expect significant increase of traffic, both from the influx of people and automobiles in Millburn Middle School and also the Washington School area. We think this will have negative impact of both the safety and the quality life of our young students, which are our dear children. So I urge the Township Committee to reconsider the site selection over the dump. Thank you and have a good evening.
Thank you so much.
Good evening. This is Fran Feld. I live at 948 Ridgewood Road. It's going to be, I think I'm coming up to 39 years living in the same home in the South Mountain area. I've raised 2 kids here. They're grown and gone, but we love it here, so we're not leaving.
Good.
So I think I want to first thank all the people who came tonight or phoned in, who did not know anything about this project, the affordable housing on the dump site as it's proposed. Thank them for, it's never too late if we're still living and breathing to get involved. I'm a person who has tried very hard for the last 3 or 4 years to be involved in this township, in this coming to committee meetings, either in person or on Zoom. And so to the people who say that they have not known about this project, I just want to make a statement to say something that you might not know, that I've learned from going to all these meetings. First, I agree with everything that everyone has said, from the Erin Bronkovich person to the segregating everybody in a building that's undiversified, to the traffic congestion and all the other infrastructure issues. I agree with them, so I'm not going to belabor them here. I also think it's fine that people got text messages. I did not get the text message for some reason, but what I want to say is that we all know that we need to step up and have more affordable housing in this town. As a former social worker with a master's in social work from NYU, I certainly believe in people improving their lives any way we can do it that's legal. So I'm not against affordable housing, but I want to say that the way this project seems to have happened and why it was signed off and agreed on was because the lawyer who's involved, who is also in bed with, or if that's the wrong expression, who's very involved with RPM, the developer. The lawyer that was used and the developer that was picked ramrodded this thing in and used scare tactics on the township committee that did initially get the 5 of them to say yes. But 2 of them at leisure have changed their minds. And I really believe that people should be able to change their minds if they think they're in error. Because if that's not the case, how did we raise our children when they made a mistake? Did they go to their room and get punished and never come out? I mean, seriously, if you make a mistake, there should be a way to say, hey, you know what? I made a little mistake here. It's a big mistake, whatever size. I think we need to rethink this. And I was there the night that RPM spent hours showing pictures of their beautiful buildings out in the boondocks of New Jersey. But there's a big building that RPM built that's 100% affordable on Main Street in East Orange. And I suggest that if anybody's interested in what's going on in that building, they should go take a look. Because for some reason, we weren't shown that building.
Thank you, Ms. Feld. Thank you so much. Enjoy the evening. We're now closed public comments.